Folks, dating after 50 can feel extremely exhausting, even when two people are making a concerted effort in the connection. In this video, I break down the real reasons why dating after 50 can become so challenging and how to protect your peace during the dating process. Reason number 1, unhealed grief and unresolved relationship residue. Folks, the truth of the matter is this: most people do not take enough time to truly grieve their previous relationships. So, what happens as a result? What happens is they bring the residue of their past relationships into their new connections, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes subconsciously, sometimes very consciously. That residue shows up as hyper-vigilance, emotional reactivity, mistrust, jumping to conclusions all the time, and reading danger where there is no danger. After 50, people often say, "I'm over my past relationship." But what their behavior and actions usually show and suggest is this. They show that I'm functioning or I'm just surviving. Folks, functioning and surviving are not the same as healed. You can go to work, pay bills, stay busy, and even date, and still be carrying unprocessed grief. Dating, especially after 50, becomes extremely challenging because you are not even responding to the person that is sitting right in front of you. You're reacting to the relationship or relationships that are behind you. And until that grief from past relations is acknowledged and worked through, our new connections are forced to carry the old weight. When processing this grief, we also have to examine, we always have to examine the part that we play in the breakdown of the relationship. Because, folks, we always play a part in the breakdown of the relationship, whether we want to admit it or not. We all have our own issues, isms, schisms, traumas, unhealthy idiosyncrasies, and unhealthy eccentricities, and general emotional immaturity that we've had to navigate over the years. For me, I know now more than ever that I was my own worst enemy my entire adult life. These days, it is me against me every day that I wake up in the morning. It is up to me to manage my fears, my doubts, my insecurities, and my inadequacies on a daily basis. I cannot stress this enough. This is crucial. This is, for lack of a better term, right now, policing ourselves. This is self-regulation. This is the ultimate antidote for toxicity, drama, dysfunction, chaos, burdens, and codependency in relationships. Folks, I wish I was taught this when I was younger. I wish I was taught this in my heyday. It would have saved me a whole lot of relational hardship over the years with family, friends, and romantic partners. People who avoid their relationship wounds end up carrying them into every single relationship and leaking them all over the other person. Number 2, lack of being intentional. Let me say that again. lack of being intentional in the dating process. This one is subtle but very common. Many people say they're dating intentionally, but when you look closer, they haven't actually even defined. Is the other person even single? Now listen, the first right question is not, what is your zodiac sign? I'm not saying that zodiac signs there's no validity or credibility in zodiac signs. I'm not saying they don't matter. I'm not saying zodiac synchronicities are not valid or credible. I'm just saying that shouldn't be your first probing question. Where do you work? At this age and stage, in third quarter, after 50, if you're really judging whether a person is a good person or a bad person at this age and stage based on where they work, what their career is. At this age and stage, who cares where you work? That is not my first right question. That has no bearing for me at this stage on whether you're a good person or not. We're not starting there. That is not the first right question that I throw in the criteria meter to determine whether we are aligned or not, whether you're a good human being or not. But the first right question that I do want to determine, are you single? Because that matters to me, for me. And I mean really single. Because folks, let's be honest, nowadays, there are different kinds of singles out there these days. Let's be real. Everybody's single until you start asking probing questions and probing follow-up questions. So, after you ask that first question, hit them with this one. So, what type of single are you? Because it does matter. This is usually when they give you that puzzle look. You then say, allow me to break it down for you. Are you single, but still having sex with your baby's mom or baby daddy? Or your ex-husband or your ex-wife? Because if that is happening for me, that is recycled situationship energy. B, are you single, but dating multiple people, having sex with multiple people at the same time, and declaring that you are non-committal? I ain't judging nobody. You can do what you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do in your singleness. But for me, I want options, and I want varying entanglements. Or C, are you single, but you're in one of those it's complicated situations? Because for me, that is just asking to be caught up in a whole lot of relational drama. Now, folks, this is actually a perfect segue for me to mention this. Slide this one in. I've had a few people to mention it to me directly. And I've also noticed online, on the platform, especially on the platform, that there are folks who seem to have a problem, even particularly in the spiritual community for some reason, who seem to have a problem with anyone who says that they're celibate. Almost like abstaining from sex is a bad thing when you're waiting for the kind of person you love and actually want and care about and that you're aligned with. We talk so much about having sex in this technology age, in this internet environment that we're in. The subject matter of sex is all over the internet. in one way or another. I don't have to break down. Let me count the ways. There are just so many. That's a whole nother video. But it seems rather taboo nowadays to talk about not having sex. Now, let me be clear. Let me be real clear. I do not preach celibacy to anyone. I'm not here telling people what they should or should not do with their body. I'm simply giving an account of my current lived experience in this area. And right now, this works for me. Celibacy. Abstinence. Here is why. From my own experience, sex, or even the prospect of sex, traditionally, for me, has had a way of clouding my judgment in the area of relationships. It negatively affected my decision making. It made it easier for me to overlook red flags, even deal breakers. And if I'm being honest, it has made it very easy for me to confuse sex for love. And at this season of life, I am not that young whippersnapper. I am not that young kid anymore who's just trying to sleep with anybody for the sake of having sex or for the sake of companionship. Sex is not primary for me at this season of my life. And as you age, trust me, it becomes less and less important. What becomes more important is this. I'd rather love and care for the woman that I'm laying down with. I want to holistically align with the woman that I'm laying down with. Me. For me. So again, I'm not saying that this is what you must do. I'm saying that this is what has brought me, the most clarity in my adult life. Because I have been in relationships in one capacity or another since I was 16 years old with no breaks. And at some point, I had to step back and discover, especially over the last year and a half, who I am fully. And if over the last year and a half, take sex fully out of the equation. No relationships, take abstinence. Take sex out of the equation for a while to do so. Because I know what sex can do for me. It can create drama for me in one way or another in the area of romantic relationships. And I wasn't interested in any more unnecessary drama and complications, which leads me to this. When I ask someone if they're single, I need them to clarify what kind of single they truly mean. Because single has different definitions these days. And I'm real clear with them. Don't give me any half answers. Because where I come from, when someone says it's complicated, that usually means unfinished business. So I make sure to ask the probing questions right up front, right out the door, right out the gate, and get total clarity from the door, from the gate, so there is no confusion, no ambiguity, and no surprises later on, because that kind of clarity will save you from unnecessary heartbreak later. Let's break this down just a little bit further. Next, what are your relationship goals? Again, we're moving intentionally. What are your relationship goals? Be clear about your relationship goals. Now, this one right here is where most people get it all messed up. You gotta know what you're looking for and be truly honest about it. With yourself first, but then with your prospective partner. Do not be wishy-washy. Do not say we'll just see what happens or we'll just go with the flow. Be intentional. Ask yourself and your prospective partner, what type of relationship are we building towards? And here is the reality. Folks, there are no wrong answers on anybody's part, as long as we're both being honest with each other. Let's go through the levels of romantic relational zones. I shouldn't even have to, at this age and stage, especially after the third quarter, be defining any of these for anyone. I'm not gonna. But hey, the booty call. Let's just call it what it is. You know that late night call? B, friends with benefits. What next? C, you know what it is? Committed and monogamous relationship. Two people choosing each other. We're just exclusive. We're not having sex with anybody else. We're committed to just being together with each other. But even here, you have to ask, will this lead to living together? Or are we keeping separate spaces? Because it does matter. Or marriage. That is the ultimate level of commitment, at least in the eyes of society. But again, be honest about whether that's truly what you both want. There's no judgment here. And for me, go back to the series I put down in my video uploads a few videos ago. Reasons why I would not ever get married again. You know, and I break it all down in part 1 and part 2 of my series why I don't feel that dating for me after 50 is very advantageous for me. I don't see myself ever getting married again. And I always have to specify this, especially as I grew up in church culture. I'm still part of church culture. Church will always be a part of the fabric of who I am, my upbringing, who I am as a human being. It helps shape me into the person that I am today. Church will always be a part of who I am. I understand the culture, and I understand the ways that if you don't assimilate to the culture in certain ways, you'll find yourself on the outside looking in of the culture. And one of those ways is if you're not married. Shacking up is not acceptable in the culture. So, I know, particularly with women in the culture of church, especially the black church, well, black or white church, whether you're 18 or 80, I know the end game as far as acceptance and assimilation in the church culture is always marriage. Now, people are usually surprised to hear me because I don't care about assimilation. I don't care about popularity. I don't care about fitting in. I don't care about acceptance. I am in a place where I'm just being my authentic self unapologetically and living what are my beliefs, my values, my customs, my traditions. How do I want to live today? I don't let a culture define how I'm going to live. So I let a woman know right out the gate, yeah, you feeling me, I'm feeling you, but I'll let you know right out. I don't plan on getting married ever again. So if your end game is marriage, you know, I'm just going to let you know right up front that I don't plan on ever getting married again. And I've gotten some responses from women that, you know, and a couple of them, yeah, they had attitudes. A couple of them had looked at me like I had 10 heads. Like how dare you can even have that position and stance that you're never getting married again, especially within this culture. But yeah, this is how I'm rolling there. I don't plan on getting married anymore. And I'm letting you know that right out the gate. And Even though they might have felt a certain way and even looked at me a certain way and even treated me a certain way, they always came back and gave me honorable mention and thanked me for my honesty and my candor, because I didn't waste their time, and I gave them a power of choice. And we were both able to say, because they were looking to be married. I knew that they let me know that, well, I'm searching for my Boaz. I'm looking to get married again. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not looking for that. So good, yeah, all right, good luck in your search for love. I do hope you make a love connection. Praying for you. And there's no judgment here. Maybe they were judging me. Not my issue, not my concern, not my business. What matters is that there's clarity between both of you from the start. Because when we're clear and transparent, we give each other the power of choice. And that is how grown folks date in this season, with our eyes wide open and hopefully with our intentions aligned. After 50, intentionality matters more, not less, because time, energy, and emotional bandwidth are limited. The lack of being intentional looks like this: dating out of loneliness, just for the sake of companionship. Dating to fill space, just for the sake of companionship. Dating to distract from discomfort, just for the sake of companionship. Seeing where it goes with no clarity, just for the sake of companionship. Without being intentional, boundaries stay vague. Expectations stay unspoken. Assumptions replace authentic. The key word is authentic, not superficial and surfacey. Authentic, deep conversations. Dating becomes challenging because two people can be real sincere about dating, even real intentional, but moving in completely different directions because they're not asking the right questions. And nobody is wrong. They're just not aligned with each other. Being intentional isn't rigidity. It is self-honesty and self-awareness. It is knowing what season you're in, what you're mentally and emotionally capable of. Now, what you're holistically capable of in this season. What you are willing to tolerate and not tolerate in relationships. Without that, dating after 50 becomes draining. No, scratch that. Dating after 50 becomes totally exhausting. Trust me, I've been there. This brings us to the red flags and the deal breakers. Now, let's talk about the red flags and the deal breakers, because this one here will save you from heartbreak later. Red flags are early warning signs. I'm going to break this down. Red flags are the early warning signs, patterns, behaviors, or attitudes that signal a potential risk to your emotional, mental, or physical well-being if the relationship continues. Deal breakers are the traits, behaviors, or situations that make you say, nope, I am not continuing this relationship. They're the things that you cannot and will not accept in a relationship. And remember, deal breakers aren't about perfection. Don't let people gaslight you. They are alarms designed for your protection. Here are some of the common deal breakers. I just wrote down a bunch of mine. I'm going to share them with you. Dishonesty or lying. Disrespect, rudeness, insults, belittling. Lack of effective communication. The key word is effective communication. Or emotional immaturity. Big one here. Oh, boy. How much I have encountered this in my dating experience in the third quarter. Controlling or manipulative behavior. cheating or flirting with others, narcissism, those narcs, or lack of empathy, sympathy, and compassion for someone, anger issues or abuse, whether physical, verbal, or psychological abuse, addiction, such as alcohol, drugs, gambling, pornography, etc. Big one that's overlooked, especially in the third quarter. Financial irresponsibility will affect you directly and indirectly. Completely different core values if you're not aligned in your beliefs, values, customs, and traditions. No ambition or motivation at all. In other words, people that are constantly in slacker mode. Poor hygiene or self-care. Not being emotionally available. This is a core one for me. Ooh, biggie. Passive-aggressive behaviors. Oh my goodness. Ooh, this one cuts deep. My pet peeve. Passive-aggressive. Petty patties, petty peters. I can't stand it. Wait. Can't stand them. The passive-aggressive ones cut me the most. They do the what? Oh, those ones that ghost you, the blocking, the silent treatments, the ones that hang up the phone on you, didn't expect you and call you back like nothing ever happened. I can't stand those people. Those people that can't say I love you when there's a conflict, all that stuff. Can't stand it. People who don't want commitment, but they front like they do. Folks that they have different views on kids or on marriage. Or at this age and stage, different views regarding adult children. That's a big one. That goes into what I'll talk about next week regarding the third-party influences. Lack of effort or consistency in relationships. Those breadcrumb people that give you the bare minimum effort. No respect for boundaries. Most important. So, I am not wishy-washy at all about my deal breakers. I listed them, broken down, written down. And I reference them. And I stick to them. Because ignoring a deal breaker early will always lead to heartbreak later. So, dating after 50 becomes challenging. Not because people are broken, damaged, or incapable of love, but because too many people are showing up unprocessed, undefined, and generally unhealed. It is challenging because many people have not slowed down long enough to do the inner work required at this stage of life to have successful dating experiences. Unhealed grief means we are still reacting to what hurt us before in relationships instead of responding appropriately to who is in front of us right now in the relationship. The lack of being intentional in dating means that we are entering connections without clarity, hoping that chemistry will do the work. That being honest, transparent, candid, direct, and revealing should have done for the connection up front. In a nutshell, they are entering situations without naming what they want or what they're available for. And when that happens, confusion replaces connection. People begin negotiating roles that were never clearly defined. Expectations are assumed instead of discussed. Our boundaries are tested instead of simply respected. After 50, chemistry is not enough. Attraction is not enough. Good intentions are simply not enough. Clarity is required. Self-regulation is required. Emotional maturity is required. Because if we do not define ourselves, our past issues and traumas will define us. If we clearly state our intentions in relationships, our past issues and traumas, unfortunately, will state them for us. And if we do not slow down long enough to heal, we will keep recreating what we claim we are trying to avoid. That is why dating after 50 has been so challenging for me. So, continue being the best version of yourself today, and then doing the work to get even better tomorrow. Feel, deal, heal, protect your peace. This is GBIC Relationship University, the Relationship Problems Channel, where we find relationship solutions and get better together. Thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, everyone.